Madam Chair, sorry to interrupt, you're on mute.
Thank you. Sorry about that. Good evening. Tonight's Committee of Adjustment hearing is being held by video conference and live streaming video on the town's live stream webpage at oakville.ca. This is a hearing to consider applications for minor variance and consents held under the authority of the Planning Act. Please keep in mind the intent of this process is to review the application that is before the committee, listen to the evidence, and then make a decision. This process is not intended to be used to resolve any concerns or disputes that may exist between the town, individuals, or organizations. If a request for a deferral is made and the committee grants such a request, the applicant or authorized agent must contact the Secretary-Treasurer to schedule a new hearing date. In order to conduct an effective and efficient electronic hearing, we have adopted the following process. If you are watching the live stream of this hearing at oakville.ca and you wish to speak to an item on the agenda, please call 905-815-6095. Again, the number is 905-815-6095. The phone number is also posted below the live stream page at oakville.ca. Staff will be standing by to take your call, and when you call in, staff will ask for your name and number, an item number that you wish to address, and your telephone number. Further instructions will be provided for you to call back to join the video conference, and when the chair of the committee polls for interested parties, you'll have to press *6 to unmute yourself. The applicant or agent will then be given the opportunity to briefly explain to the committee the basis of the application, answer any questions that may arise. A maximum of 5 minutes will be provided for each presentation. You will need to state your full name and address for the record, and any submissions beyond the 5 minutes will be at the discretion of the committee. All delegations must also state their full name and address for the record. A maximum of 5 minutes will be provided for each presentation. All remarks and questions are to be directed to the chair. Any submissions beyond the 5 minutes will also be at the discretion of the committee. The applicant agent will then be provided with a further 5 minutes to respond to any comments made by interested parties and answer any questions from the committee members. If the applicant or agent has any concerns found in staff report, particularly with any proposed conditions, this would be the opportunity to advise us. The matter will then be taken into committee for a decision, and this will mark the end of all discussions. Any person desiring a notice of the decision for an application must provide a written request, preferably through email to the Secretary-Treasurer. Written notice of the committee's decision will be mailed no later than 10 days for minor variance and 15 days for consent to the applicant, agent, and any other person who has filed a written request for such notice. The last day to appeal the decision to the Ontario Land Tribunal will be noted on the decision. Please note that only the applicant, specified persons, or public bodies may appeal the committee's decision to the Ontario Land Tribunal. In November 2022, Bill 23 legislation, the More Homes Built Faster Act, amended the Planning Act to remove appeal rights for members of the public. If no appeal is received within the prescribed timeframe, the decision of the committee becomes final and binding. The Secretary-Treasurer will then notify the applicant and anyone who received a copy of the decision through written correspondence. People participating in this hearing are to be courteous to and respectful to the members of the committee, town staff, and any other person participating in this electronic hearing. Tonight's electronic hearing is being video recorded and available for future viewing at oakville.ca. Thank you. We have no regrets this evening. Do I have any declarations of pecuniary interests? Okay, I see none. Thank you. Madam Secretary-Treasurer, I'll take any requests for deferrals or withdrawals of application. Anyone in the audience who seeks to defer an application, whether to work or staff, please raise your hand and Secretary-Treasurer will invite you in to speak.
Madam Chair, I'm moving over Paul Demchuk.
Very well.
Good evening, Madam Chair and members of the committee. My name is Samantha Bites from Victoria Planning and Management, representing the owner of 139 Cavendish Court. We're requesting a deferral of the application of a 143-2025 to allow additional time to review and discuss the comments we received through the application circulation process. Thank you.
Thank you. Members, all those in support of a deferral? Okay, the application has been deferred. You'll see the Secretary Treasurer at your earliest convenience.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thanks. Have a good evening. Anyone else, Madam Secretary Treasurer?
We have one more hand up. I'm going to move over Kruti Shah. One moment.
Ms. Shaw, you'll have to unmute yourself. Something off. You want to try calling in using the number that I just listed?
Yes.
Oh, no. Okay, very well. We can hear you now.
Okay, perfect. Good evening, Mr. Chair and member of Committee of Adjustment. I want to defer my application. It's 539 Stafford Drive. The application number is A135-2025.
Okay. We're assuming you'd like to work further with staff?
Yes, we want to work with the staff.
Very well. All those in support of the deferral? Okay, the application has been deferred. You'll see the Secretary Treasurer at your earliest convenience.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good night. Anyone else, Madam Secretary Treasurer?
We're showing no more hands. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, we'll proceed with the first application of the night, which is application 140 of 2025 at 2031 North Service Road West. I have the agent as Michelle Starr.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, now we can hear you, Ms. Starr. Go ahead.
Oh, good afternoon, Chair and Committee. For the record, my name is Michelle Starr, and I'm from Deanley Management. My address is 16 Lloyd Cook Drive West in Mincing, Ontario, L9X086. I'd like to present the application. Our application is for a minor variance to permit outdoor storage of boats and boat trailers for a temporary use only while we proceed with a future development application for E2 uses. Specifically, small bay industrial, we're looking at utilizing on the property alongside the current heritage house, and we like to propose existing accessory use in that dwelling. We have submitted a revised plan, which you see before your screen, and that plan includes a 15.5 meter setback from the stable staked top of bank that we did with Conservation of Halton in March 21st of 2025. This has moved the area devoted to the outdoor storage directly adjacent from the heritage building. Originally, our site plan had indicated the outdoor proposal storage closer to the top of bank. The impact of the surrounding natural features will now be minimal, as the parking area will only be on grass and off the adjacent road from the heritage building. We are asking committee to consider approval of our application in the absence of an environmental impact study, as this future study will be accompanying the development application requirements for the official plan and rezoning bylaw that we will need to do to get E2 uses on the property. We are of the opinion that our variance application is minor in nature, since the property has already been reviewed and staked by Conservation of Halton twice. Actually, in 2022, they did the staking of the boundaries, and then again, they confirmed the boundaries in March 21st of this year. In addition, the Oakville Livable Plan encourages the province to continue to remove land subject to the Parkway Belt. In this instance, the subject property has been removed from the province's Parkway Belt West Plan, as we had accomplished that last year through the approval through the province. And at this point, the property existing now has not been assigned under the official plan designation in the livable plan for Oakville. As a result, there is no land use direction remaining on the subject property at the point. And although the current BP1 zoning does not allow for outdoor storage, it does support marine use, and we were utilizing a portion of the marine use for the outdoor storage of boats and trailers, and that was our anticipation and our opinion. We believe that we meet the 4 tests given this instance because our application, well, it generally meets the official plan and the zoning bylaw, because if we had classified it for marine storage, then the designation of the BP1 that's currently on the land as zoning would allow us to do so. And because we were doing it for a temporary use to utilize the land, and it's only in a contained spot off of the heritage house, which we are not impacting, we thought it was a good use of the development of the property, since the heritage house is unoccupied, and it will allow us the opportunity to attend the property on a more regular basis for security. Our site plan also indicates lighting, etc., so there is property protection on the associated potential parking of those boats and trailers, and we've minimized it for a maximum of 60. So we think this is quite a minor in nature type of application, and we hope that committee considers our options and approves our application. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Starr. When you say temporary use,
Yes.
what is your timeline for that? Because there's no indication here of how long you intend this use to go on, and when would you get the 2 zoning completed?
Correct, through you, Chair. We have actually gone for a development application pre-screening through Paul 2 times, and we're actually going again because we're revising slightly. The last time we met was January of 2025, and they had wanted us to tweak our application, our site plan, to ensure that we got the exact buffers from the natural habitat, and we were able to incorporate the buildable area. So we are anticipating actually of submitting the pre-screening again and then having staff assist us as we move forward with the E2 uses. But we are also going to be incorporating environmentally protection areas as part of the zoning bylaw requirement. So I anticipate if we get it in according to staff, that they will work as quickly as possible to convert our application of E2 uses. They said we could try and push it within a minimum of 2 years. So I'm expecting this to happen, and maybe I might indicate now that we'd like to have the temporary approval for 2 years if that's at all possible.
Okay. Questions on items of clarification of Ms. Starr or planning?
Sure.
Go ahead, Mr. Tulowski.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Both staff and yourself have acknowledged that there's effectively no land use policy context for this land under the official plan as it sits today without an official plan amendment. Staff have refuted your marina argument as that it wouldn't apply even if this was deemed a marina type use as it's for a public body only. Yet you're effectively asking the committee to redesignate and rezone this land for outdoor storage through a minor variance. You're going to have to expand on how not only does it meet the intent of the official plan and zoning bylaw, but how in any way that it's desirable to rezone and redesignate effectively a high profile visible land for outdoor storage.
Yes, thank you.
And on how.
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
No, Ms. Starr, I think there was someone coming into the line by mistake.
Oh, okay. Sorry, if I could speak to that then, please. But we would just like to have the outdoor storage temporary. So yes, it's not a permitted use, but what we were trying to utilize and visualize in this aspect was not that we wanted to rezone through the committee of adjustment, because obviously that's not appropriate. We just wanted the outdoor storage similar to what you would actually see in a permitted use of a marina. There's no marina building or there's no marina actual water body other than the 14-mile creek. We just wanted associated outdoor use so that we could utilize the property temporarily, even from the perspective of security. And we can definitely assure you that if you do approve our application, that the security and the lighting situation and the way we've laid out our site plan will definitely be devoted to proper visual from the QEW. It won't impact the natural features on the property. It doesn't infringe on the top of bank nor the 14-mile creek. And because it's associated right by the Heritage Building, it will actually protect the presence of the Heritage Building, because as a standalone building, and I know from previous developments, sometimes if it's not monitored on a regular basis, there will be sometimes people breaking into those type of dwellings. And our proposal is to have boats and trailers there as a protection and a security option, because we'll be having people attend the property on a regular basis, not only to maintain the Heritage House, but also the property. So we're not attempting to change the zoning bylaw. We just wanted the non-permitted use as per the way it's being applied, because there's no designated zoning on it, to be able to have committee make that decision on a temporary basis and just utilize the outdoor storage of a marina to offset the conditions of the official plan and the zoning bylaw that we're not meeting.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions or items of clarification? Okay, there is a Mr. Mike.
Bylaw that we're not meeting.
Okay, Mr. Lowry and
Yeah.
Mrs. Lowry, Mr. Mike and Diane, you asked to attend. I'm assuming you'd like to address the committee.
We would if we could, please.
Yes, so go ahead then.
Okay, so I've been trying to watch it on the live stream, but I see there's a delay there, so I've walked
Yeah,
away
there
with
is
my
a delay, so that's perfect. That's what I was going to ask you to do.
Okay, so I moved away. So you can see we put in our concerns with this thing. Our concerns with the owners and the way they have sort of stepped along here. They started by storing a bunch of stuff last fall. We called bylaw. Bylaw came in. I'm kind of repeating some of the stuff in my letter. They came in and got them to remove all the trailers and RVs and all the other stuff they were storing. And then in the summer, they put a 40-foot trailer out in the middle of that field, advertising the land to be sold for development, again, against the rules. So it's like, and you guys have pointed out that these committee of adjustment approvals are permanent in nature, not temporary. There's no such thing. And we know this is eventually going to get developed, but this is not an appropriate use. It's the water treatment plant's right next door. It's open fields. There's houses that abut on it on the north side. There is no commercial anything. There's nothing like a storage facility anywhere near this thing. So, and you can see there's stuff. They just took that big trailer and just dragged it up to the top of the thing and parked it. I just don't believe that whatever they're allowed to do, they will push beyond the limits of what they're allowed to do.
Not true.
That's my concern, and I don't think this is an appropriate thing. It's not a marina. It's zone PB1. They tried to shoehorn this in as a marina. It's clearly not on a body of water, which is the requirement of being a marina. The staff have pointed that out. We just feel that it doesn't comply with any of the 4 requirements. Totally inappropriate in the circumstances. That's
Okay.
my 2 cents.
Thank you, Mr. Lowry. Does anyone of the committee have any questions or items of clarification of Mr. Lowry at this time? Okay, I see none. Okay, thank you very much for your statement.
Thank you.
If I can just ask whoever is not speaking to mute themselves so there's no interference or echo. That would be great. I have no idea where my picture went. We're having all sorts of technical issues.
Hello.
Yes, Mr. Lowry, I hear you. Was there anything for? Okay, that's fine. Am I the only one who can't see my picture? Can you all see me? No. Okay. No idea what happened here. Give me a second. Yeah, it's very strange. Okay, I'll try and fix it on the next application while the speaker is going. For now, does anyone have any other questions of Ms. Starr before we take the matter into committee or planning? Go ahead, Mr. Dickey.
Thank you, Madam Chair. One question. You say you're proceeding with a rezoning. What do you intend to develop on this site in the two or so years that it'll take to go through the process?
Oh, yes. I'd like to explain that we're looking for small bay industrial, which would allow for probably about 75,000 square feet. And there will be exterior parking, of course, within the limits of the MTO setback and the setback, obviously, from the top of bank. But the small bay industrial will be converted to like condos. So there will be individual units that will be bought out. And that is an approved use in E2. So in that regard, we're looking for an official plan amendment and also an E2 zoning bylaw And we have gone through with staff twice already. And that's why we're looking also to have part of the reports that are going to be included in our development application is the environmental studies impact, specifically so that we keep the natural habitat, and we zone along the back actually will be part of our application for environmental protected areas. And staff have asked that specifically for that, and also for the cultural heritage use related to the particular heritage house. They have agreed thus far that we could utilize the heritage house for accessory use to office. We had originally proposed a vet clinic, but that's not something that's part of the uses. So we think we're going to keep it simple and clean, and we'll definitely protect the natural heritage use all the way around the property.
Thank you. Any further questions? Okay, I see none. Let's take the matter into committee. Who would like to move a motion? Go ahead, Mr. Talowski.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, the applicants, I guess, effectively asking the committee to establish an accessory use without a primary use, which I have difficulty with. But when looking at the application, Madam Chair, I don't see how it complies with any of the 4 tests under the Planning Act. There is no OFP policy context for it to comply with. The use is not permitted in the existing zoning bylaw. Adding a permission for outdoor storage is not minor. And even as a temporary use, adding outdoor storage in this location with its visibility and promises of lighting with yet no lighting analysis, I'm sure the neighbors would have something to say about that as well, if we're going to floodlight this as a means of security for the heritage building. None of this is desirable, Madam Chair. With that, I'm going to move that this application be denied.
Okay, there's discussion on this recommendation. Okay, I see none. All those in support? Okay, the application has been denied, none opposed. Thank you and have a good night.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to present.
Thank you. Okay, application 144 of 2025 at 2153 Samway Road. Again, that's application 144 2025 at 2153 Samway Road. And I have Shamil Qureshi as the agent. Is
Good evening, Madam Chair, committee members.
Go ahead.
My name is Shamil Qureshi. I'm calling in from 123 Portland Street, and I'm the agent representing the homeowners of 2153 Samway Road. So, sorry. Should I proceed?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. So our application is regarding converting an existing deck to a covered sunroom to provide desirable and functional space for the homeowners of 2153 Samway Road. It's a single-story structure, which has in turn triggered a single variance, which is to increase the maximum residential floor area ratio to 44.77%, as opposed to the allowed 41%. In our opinion, the variance is minor in nature. It has no negative impacts on the surrounding properties or the neighborhood. There are no There's no opposition to the application. In fact, we have 2 letters of support, both from the north and the south property neighbors. The south side setback, which is closest to the structure, is maintained. There are no shadowing concerns, privacy concerns, or any landscaping which has been removed. So we would request that the committee approves the application, and if you have any questions, I'm available to answer.
Very well. Thank you, Mr. Qureshi. Is there questions or items of clarification? I see none. Has anyone requested to speak to the matter, Madam Secretary Treasurer?
We've had no calls and no hands. Thank you.
Okay. Who would like to move a motion? Go ahead, Ms. Price.
Taking into consideration my visit to the subject property, the submissions of the agent, staff, and the 2 letters of support, I believe the variance is to be minor in nature and are in keeping with the general intent of the official plan and zoning bylaw, and are desirable for the appropriate development of the land. The proposed development also maintains and protects the character of the existing neighborhood and does not present unacceptable adverse impacts. In conclusion, it would appear the application has met the 4 tests, and I therefore recommend the application be approved subject to the following conditions. The addition be constructed in general accordance with the submitted site plan and elevations dated August 8th, 2025, and that the approval expires 2 years from the date of the decision if building permit has not been issued for the proposed construction.
Very well. Is there a discussion on this recommendation? I see none. All those in support? Okay. Application has been approved, none opposed. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Application 116 of 2025, deferred from August the 20th of 2025 at 398 Maple Grove Drive. Again, that's application 116 of 2025 at 398 Maple Grove Drive. Good evening, Mr. Van Keulen. Go ahead.
Chair, members of the committee, my name is Curtis Van Keulen. I'm here before you tonight representing the owners of 398 Maple Grove Drive. We're back in front of you with a revised application after dealing with town staff. I'd like to thank town staff for the back and forth and working with us on revising the design. I really appreciate their patience and kindness in working with us. I've put together a bit of a figure. If staff could jump to page 8 of the submitted documents, it'll be a letter with a 3D sketch and some red. Yes, thank you. So I wanted to focus on this. This is in relation to the first variance, which is the GFA, the RFA rather, the gross livable floor area. We've taken a lot of care to really introduce a lot of breaks in the exterior facade. This would minimize the impact of the massing on the surrounding neighborhood and the housing in the neighborhood. I have a number of items clarified there if staff would like to go to the next page as well, which the top of the next page has another diagram on page 9, which basically talks about depressing the second story and really pushing in the massing on the second story so that anything over the first story doesn't feel as ominous to the surrounding built form. The next variance we have to address tonight is the front yard setback. We did include a figure on the bottom of the same page, page 9, which kind of establishes the built form in the area. And we feel that we've nestled this home up against that line for the number of houses to the north, and really kind of created a good streetscape with this positioning on the site. The next page, at the top of the page, is a view from the north down Maple Grove, which again highlights the view of the property, which is obstructed by the many number of trees. Our submitted forestry application, working with town staff again, shows that we are doing minimal tree removals in the front to accommodate a little bit of a driveway reconfiguration, as well as a shift forward, obviously, to reduce the front yard proposed setback. So if staff could jump back to the very first page, which is the site plan, and highlight in on the site statistics, upper left-hand corner. The third variance is the lot coverage variance, and we've broken down all of the equating factors to the variance. Most of the lot coverage is attributed to the exterior single-story porches. There's a little bit of overhang of a second floor at the rear that kind of contributes to that a little bit, but it's less than 0.5%. So with all of these factors and all of this explanation, I do feel that our application meets the 4 tests, and I'm submitting that it be approved by the Committee of Adjustment, and I'm here to answer any of your questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Van. Any questions or items of clarification at this time? Okay, I see none. Has anyone called with interest for this application, Madam Secretary Treasurer?
We've had no calls and no hands.
Okay. Who would like to move a motion? Go ahead, Mr. Dickey.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Based upon my review of the owner's application, together with the presentation by the owner's consultant and the planning staff's report, I am satisfied that the variances are minor in nature and conform to the 4 tests under the Planning Act. And I put forth a motion that the application is applied for be approved, subject to the conditions that the building be constructed in general accordance with the submitted site plan and elevation drawings revision 2, dated the September 23rd, 2025, and that the approval expires 2 years from the date of the decision of a building permit has not been issued for the proposed construction.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Dickey. Is there a discussion on this recommendation? I see none. All those in support? Okay, the application has been approved, none opposed.
Thank you,
and have a good night.
Good night.
Application 124 of 2025, deferred from September the 3rd at 517 Sandmere Place. Again, that's application 124 of 2025 at 517 Sandmere Place. I have Mr. Gerardo Castillo as the agent. Mr. Castillo, are you with us?
Yes. Hello, how you doing?
Oh,
good evening,
go ahead.
Madam Chair, the committee. My name is Gerardo Castillo from Keystone Home Designs, and I'm here on behalf of the homeowner for 517 Sandmere Place. We're seeking for 2 variances for our proposed new dwelling. One is for variance for the front setback, and the other one is for the total GFA. Initially, our application was deferred on September 3rd due to comments from planning. And since then, we have been engaged with discussions with the planning staff and the homeowner to see how we can redesign and reduce the scale of the house and the mass. So since then, we have come up with this new proposal, and the planning department seems to be in support of our proposal. Additionally to that, I personally visited the neighborhood, and I went with pretty much most of the neighbors assigned for the letter, and I spoke with them. Nobody had any issues. Some of them even gave us some letters of support. And whoever was not there, I left them a letter with my contact information in case they wanted to contact us for any changes. If I can just go now briefly through my presentation, if you can go maybe to the second page. I can start with the first variance. We're requesting a setback of 8.36 meters, where we're allowed 9.33. But as you can see on the property to the north, which is the right in the image, we're pretty much aligned with them. So, and also if you can go to the next slide, you can actually see that a good portion, the yellow area that you can see at the front, half of what we're requesting is just the pillars for the front porch. So we're requesting a 0.97 encroachment, but half of it is used for the front pillars or the front porch. If you can go to the next few slides, I can explain what we're trying to do. As you can see in this area, a lot of the homes are being renovated or doing new homes in this slide and next slide. And most of them, they seek some variances. And even if they didn't, they're just doing a two-story home straight up, following the ground floor footprint with the second floor footprint, so they look larger in mass in the street. And if you can go over to the two slides front, you can see one more to our proposal. What we tried to do was that the second floor, we're pushing some of the second floor footprint towards the inside to give more, to reduce the scale of the house. And we play with different heights in roofs. So this is one of the things we discussed with planning. If you go to the next slide, we as you can see at the back, we had a two-story great room that creates a big mass. So we lowered the roof. Therefore, there cannot be any livable space in that great room, like on the second floor. It changes the scale of the house completely. Same thing at the front. We reduce some of the pillars, and we reduce the house a little bit more from what we originally applied. Like I said, on the next few slides, you can see there's some houses in the area that were approved with similar variances, such as 410 Sanford Place. They got approved with a 47.78%, where they were allowed 40%. And on 411 Sandy Mary Place, where they were allowed to do 43.40, where they were allowed at 40%. So finally, we got some letters from support, as I mentioned, that are also on representation. And me, the planning staff and the owner, we believe this is, now these variants are minor in nature. So I'm happy to answer any questions or concerns that the staff or any neighbor may have.
Okay, very well. Has anyone called with interest for this application, Madam Secretary Treasurer?
No, we have had no calls and no hands.
Very well. Any questions from committee members to Mr. Castillo or items of clarification? Okay, I see none. Who would like to make a motion? Go ahead, Mr. Hardcastle.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Having reviewed the materials, including the written staff report and presentation from the proponent, I am satisfied that the requested variances conform to the four tests of the Act. Accordingly, I'll put forward a motion of approval. That motion would be subject to two conditions as articulated by staff in their report. Those being that the dwelling be constructed in general accordance with the submitted site plan dated October 3rd, 2025, and elevation drawings dated September 29th, 2025, and that the approval will expire within 2 years of the date of the decision if a permit has not been issued. We note that there were no members of the public present to make deputations with respect to this matter.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hardcastle. Is there a discussion with this respect? I see none. All those in support? Okay, the application has been approved. None opposed.
Thank you.
Good evening. Application 165 of 2024 deferred from June the 11th of 2025 at 21 Pebble Ridge Place. Again, that's application 165 2024 at 21 Pebble Ridge Place. I have Jim Levac and Darren Sanger-Smith as the agents listed here.
Good evening, Madam Chair. I just believe we're waiting for Mr. Levac to join us.
Okay. Is he joining via video conference or by phone?
I believe he's right there.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, Ben.
Good evening, Madam Chair. Sorry about that. I'm a Teams guy. Zoom has always been a challenge for me, but I managed to figure it out. My name is Jim Levac of GSAI. On behalf of Frank Appa, the registered owner of the lot at 21 Pebble Ridge Place. Oh, my video disappeared on me. I have on the call with me Darren Sanger-Smith, who is the architect designer of the proposed new dwelling on this lot. We do have a brief PowerPoint presentation, which Darren will mostly take committee through. I'll give just a quick introduction. Before we turn to any of the slides, just would note that the property is currently designated low density residential and is subject to special area policies in livable Oakville. Property is also zoned RL1-0, which permits single detached dwellings. If we could just scroll over a couple of slides to the area, one of the aerial photos, just to maybe the next one over. Yeah. As noted in the staff report, this is a very unique waterfront location, which is subject to more rigorous urban design and neighborhood character policies. So the site plan in support of the variances has evolved significantly from what was originally applied for, which is why we've previously deferred this application twice. What these deferrals have done is allowed us time to work with staff to both eliminate previous variances, but more importantly, to come up with a design and massing that is an appropriate fit for this location, as no two dwellings will look alike on Pebble Ridge when all the homes are built out on the street. If we just flip over to the next slide, which is the table. So these are the variances we've currently applied for. Page 2 of the staff report actually does a very nice summary table of how these variances were either reduced and what variances were eliminated from the original application with each resubmission. And as Darren will explain in a minute, the one variance which is a bit optically misleading is the dwelling depth variance number 3. And staff addressed this on page 6 of their staff report and correctly point out that the additional depth is primarily below grade and at the rear part of the lot. So the above grade 2-story dwelling is actually proportionate to the size of the lot and will align nicely with the other abutting houses on the street. We've had a chance to review the planning staff report on the proposal and the analysis of the proposal's compliance with the 4 Planning Act tests and agree with the staff analysis and recommendations. As such, we would respectfully request the committee approve the applications. At this point, I'll just turn it over to Darren, who can take you through the architectural aspects of the proposal and highlight the variances for you.
Thank you, Jim. Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Darren Sanger-Smith, Structured Creations. I'm just going to elaborate very slightly on what Jim has talked about, and in particular with the variances pertaining to coverage and building depth. The building depth actually is the variance for 33.77 meters. The actual building itself, as you'd see on the site plan, is actually 24.73 meters, or sorry, 24.98 meters on the west side of the property, but only 15.13 meters on the east side. We've tried to stagger the building to have minimal impact. The balance of that depth comes from the below grade area or space under the rear covered porch, which pertains to storage area and a below grade garage. There's no living space underneath there. The other variance that is somewhat deceiving, and we've been working with planning on, is the coverage. 33.95% is what we're requesting. However, the actual above grade building, including the rear covered porch and the overhangs, is actually at looking at the wrong items, is 24.73%. So the actual coverage above grade actually complies. The area below grade, that is the garage and storage area, the staff has included that, which pushes us over. So although the building numbers and from a zoning standpoint seem high, the building in its massing to the rest of the neighborhood is actually quite small. We are at our maximum level height where the majority of homes have gone for variances for height. Because we're an inverted pie-shaped lot, the front of the building is actually narrower than what is allowed, which is due to the reverse grade driveway, which pushes our building in another 3 meters narrower than what it has to be based on setbacks. The side yard setback is due to the reverse grade driveway retaining wall that encroaches into the side yard. The actual building itself is another 3 meters beyond that. So I just wanted to elaborate a little bit further than on what Mr. Levesque explained on any of these statistics. We've worked with staff to remove a lot of the variances regarding driveway widths and some additional projections with the garage that originally was part of the design. And I think that we have worked together to come up with a design I think that is very in keeping with the neighborhood, works very well with the massing, and I think that this is something that I feel can be approved. I look for any questions that you might have.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Levesque, any questions or items of clarification of either Mr. Levesque or Mr. Sanger? Mr. Dickey, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd just like to know, it wasn't quite obvious or I couldn't find it in the document, the site or the elevation plans. I wanted to know approximately what the height above grade is for the rear wall of the basement that develops the rear wall. How high is that off grade? Just the basement level itself, which would be foundation or whatever. I assume you know what I'm talking about.
Are you referring to the rear porch or the rear patio? Or are you referring to, I'm sorry, I'm unclear as to which area of the dimension you're referring to.
Oh, if I was in a boat riding along the lake, I assume I'd see what would look like almost a retaining wall, which I thought would have been the back end of the basement wall. I just wonder what the height of that is.
Certainly. The rear covered porch, or sorry, the rear patio, you'll see in the site plan that there's a heavy dark line that says limit of existing basement. Sort of from the pool beyond there's no basement underneath of that. But the height from that patio to the grade at the rear of the building is approximately 5 feet.
Okay, thank you. I just have one comment. I've said this to other people. I really appreciate it when you're coming in for a lot coverage variance, that somewhere either in the statistics or in your letter, you go through, you told us a bit about that in your presentation, but if you go through and say, what's the house footprint, how many square meters, and what the percentage is, what's the porches, and so we can go through and pick out the component, and in your case, the component that's, the causes your biggest problem is below grade. But I would like to have seen what the other components above grade were as percentage. You pointed it out to me in your presentation. I thank you for that, but I'm just saying in the future, if you could recall either putting in your letters and that, plain and simple, it makes my job a lot easier.
I've actually heard you mention that in previous committees.
Oh.
I actually did put that in the site statistics and in our first page of the architectural drawings. I did break it down for you as for the basement, the main building, and the overhangs. So I did put that in there for you.
Okay, I apologize that I missed it. Okay,
No
thank you very much. And thanks for listening to me before.
You're very welcome.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Welcome. Any other questions or items of clarification? I see none. Has anyone called with interest for this application, Madam Secretary Treasurer?
We've had no calls and no hands.
Very well, thank you. Who would like to move a motion? Go ahead, Mr. Talowski.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I guess it's true what they say, third time's a charm. Madam Chair, I'm prepared to move approval of this application as applied for, finding that it meets the test of the Planning Act. This is a unique context with largely technical variances, and I'm satisfied that there will be no impact from these variances. I would make that approval subject to 3 conditions: that the dwelling be constructed in general accordance with the site plan and elevation drawings dated August 5th, 2025, that the approval expires within 2 years if a building permit has not been issued, and that the applicant receive final approval of a scope site plan application to the satisfaction of the Director of Planning and Development. I'd also note there was 1 letter of support and no opposition.
Very well. Is there discussion on this recommendation? I see none. All those in support? The application has been approved. None opposed. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Application 147 of 2025 at 103 North Forster Park Drive. Again, that's application 147 at 103 North Forster Park Drive. I have Mr. Giordano here as the agent.
Hello, Madam Chair. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, Mr. Giordano.
Perfect. Good evening, Madam Chair, committee members. Peter Giordano, David Small Designs, 1405 Cornwall Road, in Oakville. And we are the authorized agents and designers for this project. I'll try to be brief. I appeared before the committee on August the 23rd of 2023. If I remember correctly, it effectively was the same group of committee members and you, Madam Chair, at the time, when we, as the original applicants, received unanimous approval for this same single variance item. We returned today because the approval has expired. It has surpassed its 2-year validity period. If I could briefly explain that, stormwater management studies were conducted and we attempted to shoehorn a demanding infiltration gallery requirement into the rear yard of the property, along with a pool. The pool was greatly compromised, primarily due to Bell and Hydro's utility easement located in the rear yard. A few months into the process, it was determined that a utility easement in the rear of the property was no longer required. Our clients undertook the time-consuming and costly process of discharging the easement, which required legal representation. The process took over a year. It involved the 2 utilities, both Hydro and Bell. Once it was confirmed that the easement discharge procedures would be successful, revisions were made to the stormwater management report, modifications were made to the site plan and the pool size. A formal resubmission was made to the town in April of this year with that information. A detailed chronology of this timeline can be found on slide 1 in the presentation that I submitted to help you assist you in understanding that process a little further if you prefer to read through that. Since we were most of the way through the permit review process, we're hopeful a permit could be finalized before August the 23rd of this year. Unfortunately, that was not the case. In early October, we were advised that all the reviews for both the demolition and building permit had been finalized. However, the permit cannot be issued because the previous COA approval had surpassed its 2-year validity period. We returned today to respectfully request that you revalidate this approval. Nothing has changed other than the location of the pool in the rear yard and the fact that it got larger. No aspects of the existing, the proposed house and what we had previously submitted and was approved, none of those items have changed at all. We acknowledge, fully understand the conditions of approval recommended by planning staff. That effectively concludes my presentation. Thank you for your time, patience, and considerations. If you have any questions, I gladly answer them.
Thank you, Mr. Giordano. Any questions of Mr. Giordano at this time? Okay, I see none. Has anyone called with interest for this application, Madam Secretary Treasurer?
We've had no calls and no hands.
Okay, thank you. Who would like to move a motion? Go ahead, Mr. Dickey.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Based on my review of the owner's application, together with the presentation by the owner's consultant and the planning staff's report, I am satisfied that the variance is minor in nature and conforms to the four tests of the Planning Act. And I put forth a motion that the application is applied for be approved, subject to the conditions that the dwelling be constructed in general accordance with the submitted site plan, servicing and grading plan dated April 2nd, 2025, and the elevation drawings dated May 28th, 2025, and that the approval expires 2 years from the date of the decision if a building permit has not been issued for the proposed construction.
Thank you. Is there discussion on this recommendation? I see none. All those in support? The application has been approved, none opposed.
That's fantastic. Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, we have confirmations for the minutes of October the 15th meeting. Mr. Hardcastle, thank you. And motion to adjourn. Mr. Hardcastle, thank you. We are adjourned at 8:02 p.m.